Right, here we are back in Eurotruck. We're back for part 3 of this trip in the Road of Republic of China map. The Roads of Chunghwa, I think it's called. We abandoned the truck here at the start of the mountain stage, or at least we're in the mountains at the moment, and we still have 1,400 miles to go, and we are holding up the traffic, so we might as well get started.
Are you ready for the best backseat drivers you've ever had?
Yep, let's get this show on the road.
Every bloody function working here. Second, what's happened here? What's happened here? Right, I think we're working now. Defence, now we've got to guess where the road is. There's the funny things I was talking about. I talked about in the previous stream about boulders falling down the mountains. Now I wonder if we can hit these. Yeah, I mentioned this on the previous stream, and I'd seen this before where weird things were happening down the mountainside. We've got rock falls, and that's us witnessed it there. map before in Euro Truck. Rocks flying down the mountainside. Well, in actual fact, huge boulders as big as a truck. You've got big rocks sliding down the road. It's crazy. heard of it, but I didn't realise it was in China.
At the roundabout, take the second exit. Take this exit.
past the slow traffic. We've still got 1,200 miles to go. Well, it's quite spectacular looking this part of the map. Looks as if we're going over another mountain pass. Afternoon, so we want to be driving in daylight, of course, so we need to hope that a fuel stop comes along at some point. We've seen 2 or 3 already. Oops, hang on a minute. We've got another twisty section coming up here. Hopefully by the time we get through this, it might be the time that we can take that rest stop just as it's getting dark. Looks as if we've got a big descent. Quite a big drop down to the bottom of the valley. quick. see a resting place. I think I can. Still quite a bit away though. And it's already 7:30 at night. Hang on a minute. I don't think we're going to make it there. Right, so it's... What time is it? About 10 minutes to 9 or something at night, so we'll be good for a full day's driving after this rest. Full day in the daylight. Good afternoon to Slim. Well, this is where we are in part 3, and we've got more twists and turns through the mountains to go into until we get to Zhishang or something like that. So, still 1,000 miles and more to go. We're up above the snow line again. This is like a roller coaster. I wonder if we'll see any more of these rocks sliding down the mountainside again. Weirdest thing I've ever seen in a map. Right, hang on a minute, what's up with this guy? Now, why is he stopped? Ah, he's waiting for me to pull in. I'm gonna have to go over that side of it. town or city or whatever it is. What's it called? I can't read that.
Ahead. Turn right. Turn right.
Mang Kang. Well, I was hoping we'd have some bright sunny weather, but we're not getting it at the moment. twisty and turny part coming up. now below 1,000 miles, 950 miles to go. So it's still a while, especially going at this speed.
Continue straight. Continue straight.
No, Anthony, it isn't. It's a 1:19 scale map. But what it is I'll show you here. This is the southern part of the map. You've got Taiwan, the island of Taiwan there. This is actually Europe here, but we've got a mod to take Europe out of it. We're not using Europe. It doesn't take everything out of Europe, as you can see. But this map, this trip that I'm doing at the moment, started down here in these big cities down in southern China, and it's 4,500 miles. So the 4,500 miles, and this is part 3 of the trip, we've got to here so far. That distance from there to there is 4,500 miles. The map itself continues on up here and finishes up there, right up at the top. So overall, the map is about maybe 7.5, 8,000 miles long. So it is. But we are just finishing this section today as part 3. But it is 1:1 scale. 1:19 scale, which is the standard for Eurotruck. And I got the install order and the download links from Bogdak on YouTube. So if you want to install the map, you can just search for Bogdak, Bogdac, on YouTube, and that'll take you to his channel. And he's got a video also with the download links, and he shows you the install order to get this map up and running. This isn't anything I've done myself. This is just following the instructions of one of the guys that I subscribe to on YouTube. It is a very old map. This map's been around for a long, long time. I haven't driven on it for a number of years though. We're going through the mist and fog. The mist rolling down off the mountainside. No, the harsh Russian map. I haven't seen Goba. It hasn't been on YouTube for probably almost 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. He hasn't made any videos posting sort of any information to an update that he's done to the map. And he tends to do that. He tends to do maybe something to the map, and then he leaves it for a long, long time, because I'm assuming that the guy's busy working. The version of the map that is available at the moment works on 1.54. I've got it installed, but on a couple of areas in the map, areas that I haven't been to before, the map has crashed twice. I don't know whether he has stopped doing any updates to it. I don't know, because it's difficult to get information, obviously, because he's Russian, and you just have to wait until somebody uploads it to one of the download sites. But yes, it's been a long time since he's done it, and we're just going to follow this car, seeing as he's overtaking this truck right now. So we've got, what, 838 miles still to go. I've also got one of Bogdak's big combo maps installed as well on another profile, and at the moment I am trying to complete a trip into Russia. I want to find a job that will take us to Far East Russia, because that's an area that I haven't been to. And it's a huge map combo. It's got a lot of Africa in it, as well as a lot more in Russia, right over in Siberia. Well, it looks like my wish for a nice day isn't going to happen. It's just going to be cloudy for this part of the trip. What time is it? Almost 1 PM in the afternoon. If you weren't watching the earlier part of the video, or if you weren't watching the first two parts of this trip that I've done, I had mentioned about the weird things that you will see driving through the mountains. We've already passed that first section, and I remembered that when I had driven it a long while ago, a good few years ago, I remember rocks sliding down the mountains, and we've already passed that section. And you've never seen that. I'd never seen that in any other map. This is the only one where there's actually been some form of animation that's been put in it. A big huge rock sliding down the mountainside. Goodness me, that bus driver's in a hurry. And of course that's the major news that's come through on Eurotruck over the last couple of days. There's a little teaser video that SCS has released. It's only about 30 seconds long, and it's called The Next Stop, because they're finally going to bring buses into Eurotruck, which I think is a great move. But it does mean that all of the map makers who make all the different maps that go into these big combo maps, they're maybe going to have to rethink things, because the default maps for Eurotruck and all the DLC maps for Euro Truck, all the big towns and cities all have bus stations in them already. They're already there. But a lot of these combo maps that you see, they don't have bus stations in them, or very few of them do. And so the map makers are going to have to rethink things if they're going to make their map compatible for as and when buses are added to the game, which will be interesting to see what happens there. Right, let me just pause this so I can hang on to read that. I mean, the thing is, the map is so big that it's very difficult to spot any additional roads on it. I don't think there's been any major addition to it in recent times. It's only been that it's been updated for the latest version of Euro Truck. But like I said, on 2 sections that I was on it, the map crashed. It crashed the desktop, so it's a bit buggy because, of course, it's not actually the official map, because first of all, he wants you to buy it from him, which you can't do. You can't buy the map from him anyway because of the restrictions on Russia. But very often somebody will upload it to one of the mod sites. You only have to wait. Sometimes you might not see one for a long time. That's the thing with the Harsh Russian map. It's not it's not always easy to get a hold of it. Like for example, every time Euro Truck is updated, we're about to go to version 1.55. That's going to probably happen in the next few days, and then you then have to trawl through all the mod sites, which I've got a good number of them. Plus, I've got 3 Russian mod sites where that's usually where I can find the Harsh Russian map when it's been uploaded to it, and that may or may not happen. But the one surefire way of knowing that there's been an addition to the map is if Gobad makes a video on YouTube, and like I said, he hasn't done for a long time, so I don't really think there's been any additional roads added to it. Right, we're down to 778 miles. Well, let's see if we can get past him without any accidents. Have you ever downloaded the Harsh Russian map, Anthony? I mean, I've made a good number of videos on my YouTube channel showing you how to install it. It's easy enough to install. It's a map where you definitely need to have the I was going to overtake there, which would have been a bit crazy anyway on a bend. You really need to have the developer mode activated to play that map and deal with any problems that you'll get on it, because there are problems on the map. There always has been. big a queue of traffic have we got? Oh, we've got nothing. I imagined that we would have a lot of trucks and cars behind us there, but we don't. We seem to be maybe through most of the, well, I'm just about to say most of the big mountains, and then what appears when you go around a corner, a big mountain. It doesn't look as if we're doing any more climbing at the moment. We're actually descending down into the valley. And even though, well, what time is it now? It's 10 minutes past 3 in the afternoon game time, and it's like as if it's heading into evening time. It's that dull and dark. Well, the thing is to keep checking. Once version 1.55 has been officially released, because I think you can go into the beta in Euro Truck at the moment, which I haven't done, because that interferes with a lot of the mods that I've got installed in the big map combo. Some of them aren't compatible on 1.55. They need to be updated, so I'm sticking with 1.54 for the foreseeable future. But once 1.55 is officially released, that's when I always then check the mod sites to see if the updated version of the Harsh Russian map's been bootlegged and uploaded. Russian map, a couple of, I think the 1.53 version was actually quite good, because it came with a winter weather mod, which actually worked quite well. So that the whole map was in winter. But you also then, when it rained, it was snow instead of rain. trying to keep up a decent average speed so we can get this done. And that's that. What was that? A truck or a bus? I'm not sure. He's trying to overtake us as well. We're not going fast enough for them, apparently. No, I don't download any profiles for it. You don't need to do that. You don't need to download a profile. You just need to use the what do you call it? Profile Jumpstart mod. If you use that, if you go to Steam and go to the workshop, there's a Profile Jumpstart mod that once you've actually got the whole map in the load order, at the very top of it, at the start of your game, you put the Profile Jumpstart mod in, and so when you do your first quick job when the game starts, you'll get approximately about 8 million euros, and you will also be at level 36, so you will have all your qualifications after one trip, and you'll have enough money so that once the truck dealership becomes available, or in my case, the mod dealership becomes available, you can immediately buy your truck. So you don't need to download any profiles or anything like that. That's a waste of time. As long as you use the Profile Jump mod, and then once you've finished that first quick job, you then save the game. Don't shut the game down. Go back to the profiles menu, and when you're there, you then go into your mod list and take out the Profile Jumpstart. You don't need it because you'll keep getting about 8 million euros for every job you do. You only need it to get you started in the game so that you don't have to troll through doing continuous jobs to try and get enough money to buy a truck. That's how I do it, because I'm more interested in testing the maps out than I am in building a career. I've done that over the years. I'm past doing that. But I never install any profiles for the Harsh Russian map. They're not needed at all. But I don't know. I mean, the fact that in the latest version, I've not had any downloaded profile, but yes, I've found 2 areas on a certain part of the map that I haven't been to where the game crashed. There's always been one section of the map where I know it generally always crashed, but these 2 other areas are in other sections of the map that I haven't driven on, or at least I haven't for a long while, and it crashed twice on those. I mean, the thing is, you don't know what whoever it is that uploads the map to the mod sites, you don't know what they're actually doing to the contents of the map, and they might be messing about with it and causing a problem themselves. So that could be partly the issue. And also, it has to be said, I mean, it could also be mods that cause the map to crash as well. It could have been something that I had actually installed that might have caused it to crash. Right, what time is it? 5 PM in the afternoon, so again we're looking at coming to night time, and there's a resting place up ahead, but it's too early. So I think again we'll go to hopefully now it's one of these hotels. I don't like them as resting places. I think one advantage with this map is that it being a very old map, I don't think you need any of the DLCs to be to get this map working. I think a lot of the assets in this map are very old. So I think you could easily install it and have no problem with it, whether or not you have all the DLC maps of the game. Right, on we go. Oh, here we go again. Twisty and turny going downhill, I think. Oh yeah. Down into another valley. Oh, that was tighter than I thought it was going to be. I can hear something right behind us. It's almost night time already, as quick as that. Uh-oh. Again, tighter than I thought it was going to be. Back them off the bloody road. So we're waiting on the next resting place coming along. driving in darkness. It's a lot more difficult to get the perspective on the road ahead when it just suddenly appears out of the darkness. Again, we don't really want to be driving in the dark, we want to be driving in daylight. Now I'm looking at the road ahead and I don't see any resting place, which is a bit worrying. And it's 7:15 at night. There's one now, I see it now. Well, hopefully it's on this side of the road. We don't have to cross over to get into it. But that'll come in handy. It looks as if it might be on this side of the road, and then now that you look at it, it's the other side again, I think. Yeah, it's left-hand side. Hopefully it's a nice clear day when we start up the next part. Let's see how it goes. Right. Well, we're still in darkness, or at least we might be in shadow, but I think we're still in darkness, so we're definitely going to have a full day's driving, but let's hope it's bright sunshine or, you know, anything but cloudy and dull. light is coming. There it is. So our final destination is Xishang. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's as far as we can go. The road doesn't go anywhere past it. Well, I can see some blue sky, which is a good sign. Saw some blue sky, but I don't see any more. the mist in the valley again. And there's blue sky again. So it might be a nice day. Yeah, we've got blue sky, fluffy clouds. Now 475 miles to go and it's 7 AM in the morning. We might be able to finish this without having another rest stop, just depends on what the roads are like. If we end up with a lot more of this twisty turny stuff, we'll be slowed up. And there's some big mountains ahead as well there. Crazy thing. Overtaken in a blind bend, not recommended. Yeah, it looks as if we're heading up again. Up and over the mountain pass. the one effect I do like is the fact that they've managed to get that effect of the mist in the lining about the valley below. I've seen that on the Peru map. Something along the same sort of idea as this, but not as good as that. This is a bit disconcerting though. We need to get below this or we can't see the road. Well, we're down in another valley. Big mountains either side of us. I think that bridge is where we're headed.
Ahead. Turn left.
I think we're heading over there. At least I thought we were. We're now turning left. I think we are going.
Left.
We are going that way, I think. It looks as if we're just driving round to get onto that bridge. haven't seen a toll gate for a long, long while.
Ahead, turn right. Turn right.
It's only 4 minutes past 11 in the morning, and we've got what 285 miles to go. So we definitely don't need another resting stop. We'll be in for evening time, he says confidently. This is a big bridge that we're going over. We're still going over it. But we're eating up the miles now, which is good. We'll get this done, and that will be the end of this trip. Right, I've had enough. I've been stuck behind these two. bridge seems never ending. It's driven over the
Continue
complete
straight.
valley.
Continue straight.
I'm going to have to stop. Hang on a minute. Something's caught my eye up there. Right, so that's coming from there. And where's it going? Well, obviously you're not meant to drive along it because there's a mountain sticking out. It's just meant to be there for visual effect. Just wondering what Xishang will be like, whether it's going to be a little town or a big huge city. It's been a heck of a drive to get to it. And we've got 156 miles to go. And we will be done. They're not long. going to, is it? No, that's the city before it. Right. Zhishang is the final destination. And there's Zhishang, another big Chinese city. There's that emergency run out there for trucks that have lost their brakes. that hit me? Anything in the chat? No, I haven't. Yeah, this is a bit of a crazy road, this. Down to 38 miles to go, almost done. Can't see anything but trees. Four miles still to go, and we're going to have to pay the toll. And it's just coming up to 5 PM in the afternoon, so we made it in good time. Again, it'll probably take me an hour and a half to get parked. Well, I don't even think it's not even a city, it's just a location, but don't see many buildings at all. In fact, I don't see any. We could be here a while trying to get past this guy. Yeah, I've got no patience for that. Ah, there's the city now. It finally reveals itself. Yeah, another big city. And I think we're going to be turning left at some point. So this is Xishang. And not a human being to be seen. It's as if we're arriving here during COVID.
You have reached your destination. Well done. Although, frankly,
Now, hang on a minute, James. That can't be right. We can't turn left. We've gone past the entrance. That's what it is. The entrance is over there. You were a bit late with that information, James. Where the hell are we? Right. Where the hell is our truck? Now that's us there. But that's where we should be going. In there. He was a bit late with information. Right, anyway. We are almost done. I think it would be best to turn here. Oh, we've done it first time. Right. So, engine off. And dump the trailer. I don't even know what we were delivering. I can't remember. Maybe it was garlic. So that's the end of part 3. We've got damage to the goods. We had 1 or 2 hits along the road. And we ended up getting £197,000. So that trip was 4,500 miles in total. And it took us to Zhishang, which is there. What the hell's this popped up? But I don't know why that is. But this area here is a long way away. I mean, that's almost probably another 3,500, 4,000 miles further north to go to explore. But that's for another time. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. And that was the China map, or Republic of China. And it was the roads of Chunghwa. We will see you again soon. Take care.